They came here as doctors, nurses, pharmacists, and lab technicians. In their home countries, they were established professionals. But to come here, to Nova Scotia, they had to become students again. This is their story, the story of internationally educated health professionals who left everything behind to rebuild their lives on the edge of the Atlantic. In Nigeria, in the Philippines, in Brazil, they had successful careers. They had respect, they had patients who depended on them, but they also had dreams that stretched beyond the familiar, dreams of space, of safety, of a future where their children could play outside without worry. The question wasn't if they should leave, it was where.
I'm from southwestern part of Nigeria. I've been a pharmacist for the last 26 years. I came over to Canada, started my internship at one of the most reputable pharmacists in Nova Scotia here.
I trained in Nigeria, University of Lagos. Coming to Nova Scotia, I found that there was more of community spirit here and friendlier because there's more of a balance here in Nova Scotia as opposed to Ontario.
And I've lived in the United Kingdom for, well, about 18 years. Events happened, Nova Scotia showed up, have a clinic in New Glasgow, and I support the inpatients. My first impression was that the houses looked strange, but it was bright and beautiful because it was an August sunny. And I was like, yeah, this is not bad.
It's a lovely, peaceful, wonderful environment. I'm happy that I'm really here. I've lived in different parts of the world. I've lived in the UK, I've lived in Namibia, I've lived in Nigeria, I've lived in some parts, other parts of the world also. But here there's this peace that I've found here that I really love. It's cool. Let me just say, it's cool here.
The first thing that stood out for me was the scenery, like the water bodies, the beautiful trees. Even like during the drive, I would say Nova Scotia is a better place.
I need immigrate here, so that was the first step. I started to go community college to gain some knowledge in a pharmacy field, and also that create me opportunity to do the rotation in the hospital and the pharmacy, which helped me tremendously. I need to pass 3 different exams. First one is evaluation. Second one is like a writing exam, the same as the pharmacy student in Canada. And the third one is the OSCE, which is more practicum and hands-on exam to do 3 months or so in the actual real pharmacy setting and they gain lots of knowledge and experience. And then finally I get licensed in 2013.
I'm from Nigeria, Akokwa in Imo State precisely. I work here as a director of programs, overseeing most of our language programs and employment-related programs. I quickly found my community here in Nova Scotia, if I'm being honest. I have a couple friends who have also now moved to Nova Scotia, so that has helped. I recently, last summer, I realized that there is a place called Dingle. So that became my sanctuary this summer, and I would always watch the lake and watch the beautiful houses from over there.
So making sure you stay in touch with other community members, for example, Association of Nigerians in Nova Scotia, church, meeting new people, letting them know who you are, staying true to yourself. Because to me, I believe that even though we move from point A to point B, we still owe it to ourselves and our future generations to maintain our authenticity. I would say take the leap of faith, do it, come and see. It might appeal to you if you're looking for something more laid back. Big cities convince you that it's worth it.
For an increasing number, the answer kept coming back to the same place. Nova Scotia, a province that was actively reaching out, saying, "We need you, we want you here." So they made the decision. They sold their homes. They said goodbye to their parents. They packed their lives into suitcases and got on a plane. The first landing is always a shock. They found professors who stayed late to explain one more thing. The pieces started to fit. Felt like coming full circle.
It was a little jarring in the first couple months. Things were too slow, but then it just grew on me.
We have a lot of connections, for example, with pharmacists, with physicians, with dentists. So we are helping our clients to get into mentorship programs by doing the connection between the client and the mentor.
When I got here, I discovered that the regulations were different. And also, working in the pharmacies, you had to learn how to use the pharmacy software. You had to know what the policies and protocols were so that you wouldn't really make any mistakes in doing that.
It's very helpful to have people that have gone through the process join the program later on.
A lack for family doctors here, family physician. So first thing I noticed was most patients will come up to me and they'll, "Yeah, doctor, I haven't had a family physician for a long time." And not only that, they haven't had a family physician for a long time. Yeah, they've also had quite a few that came, stayed briefly and moved on, which is expected sometimes. Yeah, so I think that touched me, and they really appreciate the work that we are doing, that I'm doing. I know with my patients, I get on very well with them.
Having those doctors coming from abroad, it helps a lot with the patients. And it's a diverse country in general. So adding this diversity to all healthcare system, it definitely will improve the service to the patient.
Also made the navigation process easy for me, especially when it came to starting my internship rotations here in Canada. I know it was quite difficult for me to get a role, but I reached out to my IPG coordinator, Nevin. She's always been very helpful and very supportive. So she helped coordinate with me for me to start start my rotation at the Shoppers Drug Mart, and that was very helpful.
People think of home as, different things. For me, home is where your heart is. Home is where you find comfort. Home is where you're supported. Home is, where you feel at peace. And you can have plenty of homes. Some people, we box ourselves into a place to think, oh, Nigeria is home. When I'm in Nigeria, I tell people I'm going home. When I'm in London, I tell people, so when I'm in Nova Scotia, my colleague says, when are you going home? And home can be where I'm going to. So home is London, home is Nigeria. So home is wherever your heart is. The moment I got into Nova Scotia, the moment I settled in, I felt it was home. So the world is my oyster. Home is anywhere I like to be.
I love Atlantic Canada, and I love Nova Scotia in particular because the people here are amazing.
Nova Scotia is my new hometown because I have so much connection.
Say Nova Scotia is my new home because here I've found a sense of purpose. I love the fact that it is nice and welcoming, and it's a great place for me to build my career as a pharmacist.
Nova Scotia is my new home because yes, I have my practice here and have good friends here, family support, and it's a place I really like also. Yes, so the people are friendly. Yes, the environment is very nice. Yes, so I think that's why it's become my home.
Province that is aging and needs new energy. It's about communities that are opening their doors. It's about what happens when people who need a home find a place that needs them. Look at them now, walking the trails, laughing with friends, working with purpose, living fully. Nova Scotia is not just the place they landed, it is the place they chose. And it is choosing them back. Nova Scotia welcomes you.